Chapter 7, Art and Expression. Having explored the nature of free creative flow, FCF, its origins in not knowing, its characteristics of effortless emergence and authenticity, we now turn to perhaps its most intuitive and directly observable field of manifestation, art and expression. Whether through drawing, music, writing, or any form of creative articulation, artistic practice provides a potent arena for consciously inviting and experiencing FCF. The FCF-aligned approach to art, however, often differs significantly from conventional methods focused solely on skill acquisition and polished outcomes. Here, the practice itself becomes less about mastering technique and more about cultivating the inner state from which authentic expression naturally flows. It becomes a practice of FCF. Consider the simple act of drawing with ink on a white page, an example explored in the source recordings. The practice begins not with an idea or a plan, but by meeting the white page itself. It involves pausing, truly seeing the untouched surface, and appreciating its inherent purity and the infinite potential held within that emptiness. This initial meeting is an act of cultivating openness, a way of attuning to infinite zero infinity before any mark is made. When the brush, held lightly, eventually touches the paper, the intention is not to execute a preconceived image, but to allow the hand to move by mistake, without deliberate direction. The aim, if one can call it that, is for a line that honors the page's purity rather than imposing upon it, a line born from the flow itself. Similarly, with playing music, such as improvising on a piano, the FCF practice begins by meeting the silence. Before playing, one pauses to appreciate the quiet, the space between sounds. The first note is struck not from knowledge of scales or theory, but perhaps as a simple, unplanned touch of a key. The critical element then becomes sensing the resonance or lack thereof between that first sound and the surrounding silence. Does it feel harmonious? Does it belong? This isn't an analytical judgment, but a direct, felt sense. The practice becomes one of inviting FCF, observing its presence or absence in the sounds that emerge, and allowing the music to unfold based on this immediate, felt resonance rather than a predetermined composition. Even in verbal expression, such as spontaneous talking or recording thoughts, the principle holds. One meets the blank mind or the silence within, letting ideas arise and pass without attachment. The starting point is simply that which is in the present moment, regardless of whether the inner state feels noisy or quiet. The talk is allowed to emerge and conclude without being overly guided or controlled by a script or objective. Listening back later, the focus isn't on judging success based on original intention, but on recognizing the quality of the flow itself. Was there a sense of authentic emergence, of effortless unfolding? Across these examples, a common thread emerges. The primary focus shifts from the external output, the drawing, the music, the perfectly crafted sentence, to the inner state of mind during the creative process. Is there fresh energy? Is there an absence of stress, striving, or forcing? Is the flow reasonless, arising naturally? This state, characterized by openness and effortless allowing, is the ground of FCF. The practices, therefore, are not about becoming a better artist in the conventional sense of technical mastery. Claiming expertise in FCF-based art remains, as noted before, an absurdity. Instead, these practices are invitations, ways to consciously create the conditions where FCF can arise, where we can directly experience the emergence of authentic novelty from the space of not knowing. They are explorations in allowing human creative intelligence to express itself freely.